I'm Monika Hengesbach. I'm an enrolled agent, a certified concierge tax advisor. I'm an NTPI fellow and CEO of Decision Financial Services, and I welcome you to this episode of The Wealthy Wallet. So today what I wanted to do is sort of expand upon my last episode in regards to retirement. It seems as if lately a lot of reports have come out to seniors feeling very unprepared when it comes to retirement. And if you watched last podcast, Yvonne was on here and she talked about some of the fears that she was going through because she was abruptly put into retirement. So I just want to give you a couple stats. 79% feel there is a retirement crisis. That's 79% of Americans feel there's a retirement crisis. 55% are concerned that they can't achieve retirement, that they're not going to have enough money saved away to live. 90% say it should be a priority of the next president to tackle the Social Security shortfall. And so hearing that, you can understand why when I talk about the retirement savings goals, recently Fidelity published that their recommended retirement savings goals are that you should be saving away at the age of 30 1 times your annual salary. By 35, it should be 2 times. By 50, it should be 6 times. By 60, it should be 8 times. And by 67, you should have 10 times your salary. So what does that mean monetarily? Well, let's say that you decide let me take you a little bit step back. Texas, the average salary, now this is on the high end, the average high-end salary in Texas is $124,288. So if you follow Fidelity's guidelines, at the age of 50, you should have in your retirement account $745,000. And at the age of 60, you should have approximately $994,000. Let me tell you, I'm not even remotely close to that. So what I'm trying to bank on is, well, now we have this lovely thing called Social Security. So what exactly is Social Security? Well, if you were born between 1943 and 1954, you're eligible to start receiving Social Security at the age of 66. If you were born 1960 or later, that includes me, that includes our Gen Z so far, that includes myself and the Gen Zs of the world and all the generations after me, we can start receiving our full retirement at the age of 67. And it's calculated that what it does is it will take the highest of your 35 years. So let's say you worked for 35 years of your life. So that means you started work at 32 and you worked for 35 years going forward. At the age of 67, it will take the highest of your earnings and then average it out to get what you should be receiving in your monthly benefits. If you work less than 35 years, then zeros are averaged into that, which means your benefits are going to be a lot less. That is why there's usually a real big discrimination between women receiving their Social Security benefits versus men receiving their Social Security benefits. Why? Because women are the ones that usually take off to raise their children. So there's very large gaps in their Social Security benefits, or they're the ones that are usually asked to stay home and take care of a sick or dying parent. They're also paid less than their counterparts. So, and some choose the career of stay-at-home mom. And so they're not putting enough money in their retirement. So what's going to end up happening, their retirement benefits are going to be a lot less. So what it says here is that after you reach, you can get early retirement at the age of 62. You can start receiving your retirement benefits, your Social Security benefits, as early as 62. But you're going to get those benefits reduced by a certain percentage. And I think that percentage is 0.5%. So let's say you decide to start to receive Social Security benefits early at the age of 62. Your Social Security benefits will have reduced up to the max, which means by 30%. That's a rather large reduction if this is the only type of retirement savings you have. After you reach what they call your full retirement age. Now, it did say that I could start to retire and receive benefits at the age of 67, but that is not my full retirement age. It can increase by as much as 8% my annual benefits until I reach the age of 70. So you have to start thinking, because I get asked this question quite a bit in my practice. Should I start taking my Social Security benefits now since I'm 62? I'm still working, but should I take them? Well, let's calculate. What would your benefits look like if you did reach your full retirement age and you were able to have those increase 8%? Or what it would look like if you end up losing 32% of or 30% of your benefits. The other thing that they have there is what's considered spousal benefits. As I mentioned, women are usually the ones that generally earn a lot less than their spouses. And so they're entitled to receive 50% of their spouse's Social Security. There's the survivor benefits, and basically what the survivor benefits is that depending on how long the spouse worked, they're entitled to receive 100% of their full spousal benefits. And so then on the next part that we'll talk about is the taxation of these benefits. And so if you earn $44,000 or more a year, and that is not a lot of money, but if you earn $44,000 or more a year, 85% of those Social Security benefits that you receive are subject to tax. I know that's awful because we ended up having to have our paychecks lowered to put money into the Social Security system, but now if you earn $44,000 or more, they're going to be taxed. You know, Social Security originally was supposed to be the poor man pension, and what that meant was that would be the only money that one would be receiving. And nowadays, people are putting money away in retirement. They are living off of rental properties. They are earning other income streams. And so now what's happening is 85% of those benefits are being taxable. Another question I get is, well, how about I file married filing separately and I start taking my Social Security and that's all I'm reporting because my spouse is the one that's working? Well, the government caught on to that little trick. And now what's happening is they're requiring us to report what the spouse is earning on there to see what amount of Social Security benefits is subject to tax. So how much can you earn on while receiving Social Security and not have to be penalized paying it back? So if you're under that full retirement age, so you're under the age of 67 and you're still working and you're receiving Social Security benefits, your Social Security benefits will be reduced $1 for every two over 21,240. So, and then in the year that you reach full retirement age, it will be reduced $1 for every $3 over 56,250. So what does that mean? From the age of 62 up to 67, and you're still working, if you earn over $21,240, so let's say for simplistic purposes, I earn $21,242, I have to give $1 back because I earned $2 over my $21,240. When I reach the age of 67 up to the age of 70, I can earn $56,250. Again, let me do my math very simply. If I earned $56,253, I would have to pay $1 back because I earned over $3 of what I'm allowed to do. When I reach 70, there is no deduction. The sky's the limit on what amount I can work. and get paid for. I don't have to pay any of that back. So let's talk about some of the new tax changes that are out there that are supposed to help when it comes to retirement savings, because the government is listening. They are hearing that people are not able to save enough money into retirement, and those could be anywhere from the economy to the company doesn't offer it. So President Biden passed the Secure 2.0 Act of 2022. And basically what that is, it expands automatic enrollment into retirement plans. It allows a higher catch-up limit to apply at age 60, 61, 62, and 63. Why they stopped at 63, I have no idea, when we can't even receive our Social Security benefits until we're 67, or we're going to get dinged almost 30%. Why they stopped at 63, I don't understand that. But basically what this means is they raised the dollar amount to $10,000. So now we're entitled to contribute $10,000 more than what we were able to do in the past. And if you're able to afford to contribute an additional $10,000, that's almost approximately another $24,000 worth of retirement savings that you can put in there. And that additional tax savings of $10,000, if let's say you're in a 24% tax bracket, that could save you approximately $2,400 on your taxes. So, that seems to be a win-win when it comes to certain cases like that. There's also what's called the Automatic IRA Act of 2024. This has not passed, but this is gaining momentum in both houses. It seems to be receiving bipartisan support and other support. What does this mean? It's something called mandatory participation. So right now, if you're working for a company and they have a 401k plan or another type of retirement plan, a 403b plan, you can opt in. If you don't opt in, well, then it's assumed that you're not wanting to participate and have contribute money into your retirement. This is the exact reverse. You're automatically enrolled. You have to opt out. The scary part about the automatic enrollment is the fact that it is a minimum of 6%. So it's a minimum of 6% that's going to be contributed to your IRA, and that raises every year by 1%. So I think it caps out after 10%. So you're going to be mandatorily enrolled to participate into an IRA. Your employee is going to deduct the minimum of 6%. You can ask for more, but the minimum of 6% out of your check and invest it into either an IRA or a Roth IRA. The other part of this Automatic IRA Act is what's called expanded participation. Currently, the only people that are allowed to participate in 401k benefits or company retirement plans are actual employees. What this expanded participation means is that independent contractor, gig workers, they now are also going to be automatically enrolled to participate in a retirement plan with the companies that they're doing their independent contractor work with. They've changing the investment options, is giving definitely a different variety of investment options to go and enroll in. There's something called the lifetime income option. And what that is that you're able to change how much money you have in your IRA. You can roll that over into an annuity and have guaranteed income for life. But this is only for participants that have balances up to $200,000. If you don't have balances that high, then you're not able to participate in this. And it also has to be in a company that has over 100 participants in that plan. And lastly, they're doing employee incentives. And what that means is that employers who now are having to do this Automatic IRA Act, or even actually starting retirement plans, because again, us smaller employers don't necessarily have the means to be able to afford to do these type of retirement plans, they're going to get a $500 a year credit for up to the next 3 years if they have 100 employees or less. So that's supposed to be the incentive for businesses to be able to get involved in that. So, I know it's very daunting about it, and you might not even be able to participate in any of these items because it's still quite a bit of money. And, when you think about where we are, biggest complaints that people have when they're even thinking about retirement, and that's even the younger generation, is the fact that we have rising costs for housing, health insurance, even, our homeowners insurance, automobile insurance. Interest rates are high. That means our minimum credit card debt is extremely high. For the younger generation, they got high student loan debt. Then you throw in divorce. It seems like the highest thing that's happening right now in the seniors, is the trend, is divorce amongst seniors. And so now these seniors are forced to go from a 2-person household income down to a 1-person household income. And they're living on their own and they're fully responsible for their own expenses. That can start to deter people away from having the means to retire. So what are some of the things that you can implement now? Well, I am a key component of budget. I highly recommend that you sit down and you draft a budget. See exactly where your money's going. And I don't mean just, okay, here's my monthly mortgage payment, bloop, and here's this and this. No, I mean, you break that down. You break it down to how much of that mortgage payment is going to principal, interest, homeowners insurance, property taxes, how much you pay to your HOA, your utilities, groceries, car upkeep, that means fuel, insurance, car payment. Break that down between principal and interest. Put down your credit cards, how much you're paying towards your credit card debt. You want to draft right next to that what your interest rates is. Be honest. How many times do you stop at Starbucks and get that latte every morning? How much do you spend on clothes? How much do you do all of this? And determine where your money's going. Take a look at that budget and see what you can cut now. Maybe you don't need a Starbucks every day. Maybe you just treat yourself 3 times a week, right? Or you see that you have these very high interest rates credit cards. Let's start chipping away at those. I recommend starting to pay off these high interest credit cards. Put more money to them. Some people say take the credit card that has the highest interest and start chipping away at that. I'm more of the person that says, look, take the credit card that has the lowest balance on it, freeze that credit card, cut it, freeze it, so you're not tempted to spend on it because it does have the lowest. Make more payments to that because you're going to pay that credit card off faster. Once you pay that credit card off, go to the next one with the next balance. Freeze it, cut it, take the amount that you were paying on the first credit card and add it to the payment that you're making on the second card. It's not going to change your cash flow. You're not going to feel a hit of it. You're just now making more payments towards those credit cards, and that will help alleviate those debts and pay them off faster. The other recommendation that I like to suggest is if you are a homeowner, that is going to be your biggest expense when you retire. So my recommendation to you on that is make extra payments a month. Every loan has a calculator of how much money do I need to pay extra and how fast will I have paid off my home on that. I think when I was doing my own home, I have to come up with almost $1,000 plus a month to have my home paid off in 10 years. But I have a guide. I know that if I'm able to, I need to fork over another $12,000 a year to pay off my home. That home is my retirement savings because that's my biggest expense. And if I have that home paid off prior to my retiring, I just saved X amount of dollars monthly to pay for it. So maybe the amount I'm making and getting in my Social Security now is going to work a lot further for me than it is now if I have this rather large house payment. The other thing is a lot of us have our kids that have moved back home with us. They've graduated from college. They can't afford to live on their own. They're still on our pocketbook. They're still on our cell phone. They're still on our car insurance. They don't pay any rent. I completely understand. I myself have a daughter that graduated college and moved home. There is no way in the world that she could go out there on her own with the amount of money that she's earning at the moment. So what have we done? Well, we have developed a plan. She currently pays for her own cell phone bills. Her car insurance has been put in her name alone, so she's fully responsible for that. We didn't start out immediately that way. What we started out immediately was that she was going to buy her own groceries. That was what she was responsible for. And then we gradually added on the cell phone. We gradually added on the car. And now what we're doing is every month from her paycheck, on the first paycheck, she puts away in a savings account the amount of money it would cost her to rent a studio apartment in the area. So what are we doing is now she's saving money on that. So when she does go out on her own, she has first, last security and a little nest egg to help her in the event that she should fall short. But by her starting to pay some of her own expenses, it's actually alleviating the burden upon me to cover those additional costs, which affords me the opportunity to maybe put more money down on my home or more money down on my car payment to have those expenses paid off quicker. And the last thing that I've been sort of researching actually for myself is maybe when you hit the age of retirement and you're not encumbered down here with a lot of family, look at other places that possibly you can move to. One of the things I was looking at is I'm a big ocean lover. I love ocean views. And I took a look at Greece. I was like, why not? Have I ever been to Greece? No. Do I even speak the language? No. But I know in Europe, everyone speaks English and there's a lot of expats going everywhere. But what I found out in Greece is that anyone that's over the age of 60, if they're a resident of Greece, they get free insurance, health insurance, free medical costs. I mean, that's crazy. Their rent with an ocean view, 1-bedroom apartment, ocean view is $1,400 American dollars. You can walk anywhere that you want to go. Their food is the healthiest. Their water with the salt has healing properties. It's a thought. I'm now having other places like Costa Rica sending me some information on maybe that's a possible great place to retire. I don't know. I'm just doing my research because these are the things that as we're getting up there now, we need to start thinking about what we're going to do when we're there. Because today, yes, we still have Social Security, but we don't know if we're going to have Social Security tomorrow. And so we really need to plan today and make great strides so we know that we're safe when it does come to retirement. People say have a side business. You know, I feel if you're retired, my gosh, you earned the time off. Enjoy it. But if you're a person that feels that they need to be working, then find a job that you enjoy. I have some friends that retired early and they're working in a clothing store. Why? Because they love shopping. Lord, if I go to work and retire in a clothing store, I probably would have no money for retirement, let alone any of my other bills. So I have to think of something else. But these are all the options that I think that we all should consider. So that's everything that I actually have for today's podcast. The next podcast that we're going to have is we're going to have a gentleman on here that deals with exit strategies for business. As you can see, this sort of all falls into place. I talked a little bit about retirement. For some of us, a big, healthy chunk of our nest egg is our business. We worked really hard to get it to a certain point, and now we need to know how we're going to exit from that business and what type of income stream is that business going to have for us, how we should structure that exit strategy, and how much taxes we may be on the hook for selling our businesses, and is there a way to, I don't want to say avoid, but to strategize that we're not paying so much in tax. And so I'm really excited to have him on the podcast next. But I appreciate you all coming in and viewing, and thanks a lot. Bye-bye.